was a startup, and you were hands-on in implementing an RPMG program into Literacy Planet. Do you think it's got applicability to other startups?
Yeah, being a startup company, an e-learning company, we found that we were in a great deal of pain, and the other aspect of that is we didn't realise we were in a great deal of pain until we started rolling out what we needed to do. So having someone like RPM Group in that had done this so many times before, we needed a structured process, we needed a structured sales process, we needed, I guess the other definition that the staff had within the company was they felt that tactics was a strategy, and they had a very ad hoc approach where they were throwing as much mud at the wall and seeing what stuck. So we needed to put a strategy in place, so RPM Group helped us a lot along those lines in terms of structuring processes, putting a strategy together, structuring who that profiling the customer, and then how we go about talking to that customer, implementing, and basically converting. You know, at a startup level, you know, speed and timing is so valuable, and we were already in enough pain as it was. We couldn't afford to go south any further in any way, shape or form. I do think it's particularly relevant for a number of reasons. One is that a lot of the startups have great ideas, have found great niches in where there's a great need or they're solving a great problem. They attract great investment, you know, to their credit. However, where I do see a big hole or a gap in their business going forward is using a company like RPM Group in terms of putting in the structured sales process. And to actually follow on from that, there are a number of businesses out there, particularly the startup, believe they need to grow up to a certain level before they actually use an RPM Group. But what I've seen in a number of established businesses, they wait till they've fallen over the cliff and they've got no parachute before they actually start calling in help. And what I actually tell the startups now is don't get to that point. You know, there is a success rate of 10% with startups. Be part of that 10%, you know, and don't wait till you find out you could be part of the 90% that don't get there before you think of who shall I call. And so I think there's a great need for startups to just get in and even if it's just a half day, a day, whatever it takes, you know, just to kind of make sure they're on the right track. At the end of the day, they have to communicate back to investors, they have to communicate back to a board, and that investor group is very black and white in what kind of return they're getting on their money. So I do feel this process is extremely important. In fact, I'd put it at the top.